Digital marketing changed the world of marketing entirely. The interesting part of the challenge is you got to keep changing the world every day.
This is the Value Creators Podcast. Value creation is the sole purpose of any business and every business, and for all of us as entrepreneurs. Listen to great value creators as they share their successes, trials, and lessons learned. Join us as we explore how to think as value creators, how to act as value creators, and how to view business through the lens of value creation.
Digital marketing changed the world of marketing through measurability. The old mental model of marketing was based on creativity and communications. Happy pictures, catchy slogans, features that could be presented as benefits. The new world of digital marketing is all about performance. Who saw? Who clicked? Who purchased? Who repurchased? Who recommended? Who influenced? We can know all of these things. Did emotional engagement go away? No, it didn't. But now we know it on a more solid ground. We deduce it from those behaviors, not from surveys and questionnaires. And it's because of this measurability that digital marketing changes the world every day. If you're a digital marketing agency or digital marketing service provider, you're deeply engaged in the adaptive entrepreneurial model of constant experimentation, constant learning, constant change, constant improvement. Our guest today, Kevin Roy, is exemplary in this regard. He was a pioneer in digital marketing in its earliest days and remains a leader because of his ability to continually innovate. Let's learn from him about the exponential entrepreneurial value creation going on in digital marketing. Kevin Roy, CEO of Green Banana SEO. Kevin, welcome to the Value Creators Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
You're CEO of Green Banana, a leading firm in digital marketing. You've consistently been named in the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies, which means you've consistently grown over the years. And you've got a lot of awards and accolades. You've been both a pioneer, you got into this digital marketing field early, Kevin, and a consistent leader. So we want to learn about digital marketing today. Maybe we should just call it marketing, should we? Because we're deep into the digital era. What's your definition of digital marketing?
I think of digital marketing as anything on a screen or your phone, digital radio. We work with a lot of other marketing agencies that do out of home and print and TV and direct mail, and they work. So we focus on all the digital aspects like Google AdWords, SEO, LinkedIn, Twitter, Insta, TikTok, Facebook, programmatic, retargeting, all those annoying ads that follow you around. You can thank us for that. Geo-targeting, any of those things we do.
Okay, well, we'll get into that. We'll ask you about some of those things, but maybe you can cast your mind back to when you started, what digital marketing meant when you pioneered it, and then maybe take us through how you feel it's changed over the years.
When we started doing just web design and web development. And we quickly noticed that it was really hard to scale a company we were doing large websites for HP and SAP, Salvation Army. Those projects, even though they were set to launch in 3 to 4 months, they would take 8 to 12 months, and you get paid in the beginning and paid in the end. So it was hard to scale with large projects like that. So we started to do search engine optimization, and then I got really obsessed with it and into it and started to see the things that we're doing were ranking. And then gradually we had clients say, can you do Google AdWords? What do you know about programmatic? What do you know about Facebook? We want to advertise on that. And it was really the requests from our clients and figuring it out and running it the same way we run everything else, which is, we try to focus solely on conversions and performance, that all the other aspects grew out of that, really from our customers requesting that we figure something out. And to this day, it still happens. We'll have large customers say, we really want to do this. We trust you. Can you figure it out?
So that link between marketing expenditures and performance, the actual measurement of results, that seems to be the main point. I came out of the old advertising world, Kevin, and everyone worries that you spend advertising money, you have no idea whether it's doing you any good or not. The opposite is true now in digital, isn't it? That those metrics are pretty precise.
It's very precise. It's my favorite part of digital marketing. You typically, if an agency says you can't see it, then they're not telling you the truth, because it all funnels through Google Analytics. There are varying degrees of, it's very easy for us to see a lead or a phone call and what led to that lead or phone call. Or if it's an online purchase, it's very easy to see the metrics that hit there. And you don't even need anything sophisticated, just Google Analytics will suffice. One of the challenges is, if it's a lead or a phone call, does that convert? Then you have to hook into a CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot or any of the other ones. That's when it gets a little bit more complex, but you can still measure it if you connect all those pieces.
What about the subjective components that, as old-fashioned advertising people used to think about, the brand image and the subjective value of loving the brand and those kinds of things? Can you measure those effects?
You can measure in part conversion. So if people have a high trust value, LL Bean has an insanely high conversion rate, and I think they'll argue that it's, yes, they have a good shopping cart, but they have just as good as everybody else, but they have a very, very high brand equity. And that's one of the reasons that their conversion is so high. So you can measure that. You can measure how many people go to the site through organic and direct, but we typically stick with other agencies, like branding agencies will hire us because we're executioners. They hire us to make their brand work. If someone calls, and even though we have a design team here, if someone says, I want you to give us the best brand image in the world, we would say that we're not a fit for you. We have other agencies that we work with that are absolutely amazing. We'll hook you up with them. When you're ready to make you money, that's what we do.
One of our arguments is that you can derive the imagery, the subjective value, from the behavior. If people are loyal and they keep coming back and they buy your materials a lot, then they must feel good about it. It's a deductive as opposed to. What are the things that you do at Green Banana that make you special, as you call it executionism, but more measurable, more reliable, more effective?
When it comes to SEO, that's easy. We're performance-based SEO, which is, if we get you on page one, you pay. If we don't get you on page one, you don't pay. You pick the keyword phrases. We have to rank your site, not a site that we built. I always say that the really important distinction there is that we don't guarantee results. We guarantee that if we get you ranked, you pay us. If we don't get you ranked, you don't pay us. We're not trying to game the system. We follow the rules with Google. It takes 6 to 8 weeks at best to get a keyword phrase ranked in the top 5 or the top 10. That is what most people know us for, is performance-based SEO. All the other paid media aspects, I think what makes us unique is that rather than just looking at the data, so almost any digital ad agency that's decent is going to have conversion optimization tools that's going to be able to say, I put a cookie on the thank you page, and you're able to go and maximize that by looking at all the data, or having tools that look at the data that say, what's the best time of day? What's the best keyword? What's the best ad copy? What's the best image? What's the best location device that gets the best results? And let's go find a way to get more of those. So everyone has that. But what we find is it doesn't tell you if a lead or a phone call turns into a sale or is good or not. So what we do is we have weekly meetings with our clients, with our client sales team, and say, hey, this is the data that we saw. It looked like you did really good. What feedback can you give us? Did you close these deals? Are they large deals? Are they small deals? Are they just a bunch of college kids looking for jobs and they clicked the wrong button? The data can't see that. But if you get the feedback from the team, there's 2 things that happen. You get real data that you can adapt the campaigns to, and your clients are learning more about what we do. We're learning more about what they do. And this miraculous thing happens where the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. And we both become more knowledgeable in each other's fields, and the campaigns rise. So even telling our clients, we tell our clients everything we do. They're not leaving. They still want us to do it. The person that changes my oil tells me exactly what they're doing to change my oil. I'm not going to do it myself, right? So that part doesn't happen. But what happens is you grow a tighter relationship with your client. Then you start thinking about different ways to make their campaigns more effective based on their continual feedback. That's kind of what makes us unique in paid.
We like to think about that as combining technical knowledge and human or customer knowledge. Kevin, like you said, you build a relationship. The technical side of what you do is impeccable and constantly improving, but the human and relationship side is an equal part of it. You put the two together, you get something special.
It's super important, especially in digital, because there's a big unknown. So clients they're just not sure if you're making stuff up. When you show them, they're like, all right, these guys actually aren't making anything up. So now we can trust them and move on to the next step.
So social media marketing, that's one of the list of services on your website. That's, relatively speaking, a fairly modern invention. What changed in digital marketing when social media came along?
What changed in digital marketing when social media came along was the ability to target specific personas with a message that resonated with them that they weren't specifically looking for. So if I'm looking for an emergency plumber, you don't use social media for that because they're in a need. The sink is leaking. It's ruining their hardwood floor. They're freaking out. They're going to Google it. DUI attorney. You're not going to social media for that. You're Googling it because you're in a panic and you've got one phone call. So you're going to do a Google search for that. What social media is great for is we have a new client that's doing this organic soap and they're marketing it towards athletes. These athletes aren't looking for soap right now, or they rarely are, or maybe they just pick up what's ever on the counter. But if we can send a message out to them saying why this is better, they're going to be attracted to that. So social media marketing is great for if someone doesn't have a specific search, but you think you can appeal to a specific market, social media is great for that. What's not great about social media lately is that Facebook they've made a lot of changes to their permissions, and they've also not really allowed you to hyper target. You used to be able to hyper target, like I want to target a certain ethnicity and a certain income with certain behaviors that live in this location. And you could be great because you're like, I know exactly what this market wants and I have a product that's exactly for them. Facebook won't let you do that. So these campaigns are becoming less and less effective. It's almost like they want you to spend more money on broader audiences.
Why do you think they did it? Why did they change that setup?
I think that's why they did it.
Yeah, okay.
That's why they did it. But I think even though we do quite a bit of social media, but for specific things, we always run campaigns in parallel. So we'll run a paid media campaign like a Google Ads campaign and Facebook. And if Facebook's not performing, we say to the client, hey, this is what you're spending on budget. Your return on ad spend is half in this medium. You should move your budget. No one ever says, let's keep it here because I want to give Facebook money.
Yeah, and that's where measurability keeps coming back, right? You can always test, always evaluate. So email marketing is on your list, Kevin, of services. That sounds to me like it's a bit old-fashioned, but I know from my inbox that it's full of email requests and so on like that. So how do you rank email marketing in the world of SEO and social media?
Email marketing, I think, is great when people subscribe to you. So people that buy things, email will be a very high conversion rate. If they say, hey, I already bought your polo shirt, you're going to get on an email list. And then when another color comes out, they're going to send it to you. And you're more apt to buy that through your email. Email marketing to an unsolicited list is really, really hard to make effective. To a list of people that have come in, it's a great way to keep them engaged and win them back. Like if someone hasn't pulled the trigger, just keep reminding them about, put them in an email sequence, and keep reminding them about, hey, you looked at Green Banana a few weeks ago. You want to come back and check this out, or check out this new feature that we have, or we're doing a special on free audits this week. Things like that will get them to come back.
So it's about whether they subscribed in the first place. That's the big variable.
Yeah, you can buy a list, and I've seen people have success with it, but it's not something that we do. Also, buying lists, a lot of email providers like MailChimp or Constant Contact, if you buy a list and it has a very high unsubscribe rate, they kick you out of the system.
Just going through your list of services, one of them is called partnering. I wasn't 100% sure I understood what that was. Let's describe it for people. Is that you as an outsourced provider, or is that some other kind of partnering?
We have a lot of other agencies that, like I said, we have branding agencies and creative agencies, and we have radio stations. We have out-of-home people that aren't experts in digital media, and they want to offer those services. So we built a platform for them to go and order the products that they want, and also a white label dashboard to show the results as though they were running the campaigns for their clients.
Good. So that is a kind of outsourcing.
We're the white label outsource for a good amount of other companies.
Yeah, a secret nobody knew. One of the phrases I've heard you use, Kevin, to describe all of this is being seen and being heard. So is that the ultimate metric that you deliver, that you're being seen and you're being heard? Is that what your clients want?
For what they want to be seen and heard for. When people call us and say, we really want SEO, the first question that I like to ask is, what for? And they'll say, well, we just need a better online presence. What for? And they'll say, I want to get traffic. I'm like, now we're getting close. What for? So you have to keep asking them. And then you get to the determination that they sell this and they're not ranking for this. Okay, now we know what our target is. So being seen and being heard in the middle of the trillion websites that there are, you're not going to cut through that. But if you want to be seen and be heard for the specific thing you sell, or the specific service that you offer in the specific location, now we got something. Now we can help you. And part of what we do is help people identify that. But I don't think you should hire any marketing agency without knowing what that is, because then you're just going to pay me to SEO your site. That's like saying, I want to get better today. Like, better to me would be like faster or taller. Right? Yeah. It's very subjective.
What about, again, being old-fashioned, a values-based campaign? I want to be known, as Steve Jobs used to say, as the company that thinks different and encourages the crazies who think different. Or Nike talking about just do it, athletic achievement and so on. Can you run a values campaign on digital marketing?
Yes, but look at Nike and Apple. You ask anybody what Nike does, and they're going to say sneakers and athletic wear. Anybody what Apple does, it's computing. So they've paired that with their offering. I think if they led with just be different, unless you have a insanely massive budget, I think comparing to people with huge budgets like that is difficult. We run large campaigns for people, but we're still hyper tactical. So I like to start, we need to start making money for you as quickly as possible. Then we can open up the branding cape and start pushing out into talking about your value proposition, talking about your brand and engendering brand loyalty. But people that come to us need to start making money. So we're trying to get them to sell their stuff and then move into that, unless it's a huge company with unlimited budget to get on TV, radio, billboards, digital.
I'm just going to press it one more time. Is there an over-reliance in digital marketing on the mathematics and the clicks and the funnels and so on, and the metrics, that we lose the human connection?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's going to happen more and more. But, the other thing, too, is what the younger generation is becoming more accustomed to. So we just had a high school intern here. He did a really quick internship. Super well. Like the amount of information that he was able to consume and how comfortable he was in this digital environment, it was nothing that I could have expected. I didn't think he would be that advanced. I noticed that he was a little shy in his interactions with me. Put him on a Zoom, he's a different person. It was amazing. So because that's the environment that he grew up interacting with. He was open, he was candid, he was funny, he was comfortable, right? In an environment that I wasn't comfortable in when I first started. I'm still not comfortable with it. Yes, I think we're losing a little bit of personability, but I think that's part of what people are moving into, unfortunately. I think if you're going to sell digital, I think what makes us good is because we can talk to people, because we can relate, because we let people pick up the phone. I always say here, when one of our team members is working with a client, and they're like, well, they're not getting back to me on email. I'm like, what'd you call them? Call them. Pick up the phone. It's weird. Pick up the phone. It's going to get you further.
That's fascinating. And that's the generation that is now growing up and will be dominant. I'm trying to get a sense of what that means for interact. Are they becoming more introverted or just more, you said the guy was terrific on Zoom, so that's not introversion. It's just more comfortable in the digital space, I guess. Can you characterize it a bit more?
I'm a conspiracy theorist, right? Because I think it's fun. I did notice that after COVID, no one looks, it's hard to get someone to look you in the eye anymore. It's this weird, make sure you keep 25 feet away from other humans if you don't know them. So I don't know. That seems to be happening. But I think people still like to talk to people and they find it refreshing. So that, to me, that's a competitive advantage for Green Banana, is getting on these face-to-face calls, calling people. I drive it into everybody. I know it annoys the team members here, but I keep driving in, pick up the phone, call them, have them come in the office. and then it works miraculously.
Yeah, human to human. On the other side of digital marketing, just let's probe the recipient resistance. And again, this might be old-fashioned thinking, but the overflowing email inbox and the pop-ups that are intrusive and the ads that I don't want that makes it hard to scroll on the website. What's the state of consumer feeling about digital marketing?
I'm always, I know that there's like we're running into a cookieless environment now, and people are using things like ad blockers. Fortunately, as an agency, we have not seen any diminishment in the ability to serve ads to people. I think part of it is the people that use the ad blockers are the hyper sophisticated, right? Super geeks like me, but I don't do it because I do this for a living. I think that people are consuming so much digital media. Like the average person is on their phone for 8 to 10 hours a day. So think about that. Think about how many scrolls they're doing and how much ads they're consuming. There is so much of it. On the flip side of it is, how do you break through the white noise? The ads have to be catchier. They have to be more creative. They have to be more compelling. They have to specifically talk to those people. Like, this person is thinking specifically of me. They have to be more personalized, and then they'll work. But I haven't seen it diminished in an inventory space. Like, our largest client with a massive budget could still spend a lot more because there's people just living on their phones that are his target demographic.
What about surveillance and data collection and that kind of concern? Kevin, are people paranoid about that, or is that no longer, as Zuckerberg said, privacy is no longer a social norm, I think he said. How are people feeling about it?
So they should be concerned about it. We have a tool. Like, if you come to my site right after this, I'm going to see the name of the company and the server that you were at, and it will probably identify your LinkedIn profile if you come to my site. 8 times out of 10, it does that. And it's really inexpensive software that we have that's click identifier. So think about what large, super, super large companies have in terms of data collection. I always say that if you're doing something you don't want anybody to know that you're doing, do not bring your phone with you. Right? Even if you shut all the settings off. So I think for me, it doesn't bother me because I'm not doing anything I don't want anybody to know about. I kind of enjoy seeing how the ads are interacting with my behavior. But on the other side of it, it's intrusive. But the amount of data that even we have on people is more than I could imagine.
One of the memes that you hear about is that in the future, we'll all control our own personal data, that we can decide to sell it or not. We can keep it. We can send it to people we want to, but not to people we don't want to. Is that realistic? Is that going to happen?
There is a movement on clean rooms. So with the cookieless environment, there are large companies that are keeping their own customer data and using that sort of in a box, but they're still getting it from other people. I think that, yes, that option will come, but you're going to be giving up a lot to get that. You're going to be giving up the personal responses to the stuff that you want. Some of your personal online experiences that you're getting when you're scrolling through TikTok, it's going to forget the fact that I just like this really cool, crazy conspiracy theory guy and I want to see more of them, right? It's going to forget that because you're not allowing it to see that. So you're going to have to probably scroll a lot more.
The other side, one of the things I always think about, I don't know if this is true or not, maybe you have a point of view, the same technology that those of us in marketing have developed to personalize ads and understand people and personas, you say, it's the same one that's going to bring me personalized healthcare and understand my cancer tumor or my particular kind of diabetes or whatever it is. It's great stuff. It's for our benefit.
I think it is. I think if you're keen and understand that, yes, people are seeing everything, nothing is a coincidence, that you can use it to your advantage. The other piece that I think about a lot, especially with the advent of ChatGPT and AI, is the amount of data that is being generated on a minute-by-minute basis has got to be 100-fold of what was happening 3 months ago. I don't know how all the algorithms, all the computing power can process this and figure out how to sort it and know what to do with all of it, because it's exponentially growing. There's a video on our site of a woman that is speaking from a script that I wrote. And I have no idea who she is. I didn't pay an actor. It's fake. It's fake AI. She looks real. It took me 15 minutes to generate it.
So is that the future? I mean, AI can make logos, it can make videos, it can make voiceovers, it can make artificial people. Is that where we're going?
Well, think about it. You can take a bunch of pictures of yourself and it will make an AI avatar of you. Now, I would rather do that. If I do a presentation, I'd rather do that than have to go and sit behind a good video camera, and then worry about that. I did this wrong. I look stupid here. Right? My hair's screwed up. Right? Like, you don't have to do that. It just does an avatar and you talk.
Yeah. That's cool. That's an interesting future. What other innovations are you thinking about in the digital marketing AI future?
The AI thing is absolutely fascinating to me. And so, I'm not in love with it for SEO because it generates very predictive content. You can tell that if it's been generated, but it will help you build a framework. So if you really wanted to write a long piece about something, you can have AI generate it, and then you just got to go spend 3 or 4 hours rewriting it. You're going to save yourself 10 hours of having to create it in the beginning. Using the APIs and like Zapier connectivity pieces, you can make AI automatically do things. It can connect to one system and the other and figure things out for you. AI generates logos and images. Some of those things are just mind-blowing. All the people here said you got to embrace AI and use it. You don't have to use it for your clients, but use it for yourself so you can understand how it works. I had to read a legal document disclaimer, and I didn't feel like sending it to my attorney and getting a bill for $1,500. So I went to AI, I cut and pasted it and said, what does this mean? And it literally spit it out in layman's terms. Like, this is exactly what this means. Like, that's amazing. And it did it in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many of those kinds of middle and low-level professional services that AI can replace. Is it a threat to people in your industry? You're going to need fewer people?
I think if you're not using it, I think if I were a copywriter, I'd be nervous about it. I think if I generated logos for a living, I'd be nervous about it. I think it's something that we always have to watch. I think as an agency, we have to embrace it, but I don't think it's going to, all right, let me say, I'm not sure it's going to replace search engines. I don't think it will, but if it does, they're going to advertise on it. Google and Bing aren't going to say, get off of our billion-dollar profit generating machines and use this for free. They're just going to switch. They're going to switch paid over to that, and then we're just going to run that. Yeah, one of our thoughts is that every innovation needs a business model, and Google didn't have a business model when it started, and it discovered DoubleClick, right, and advertising. So AI doesn't necessarily have a business model yet. Yeah, but they will. They have the user base. It's like back when dating sites first came out, they were all free, because no one wants to date one person. But once you get like thousands of people on there, you got someone to select from, then all of a sudden it becomes a paid model. Like, that's the advent of every collective user base, is get a bunch of people in here for free. And then once there's enough fun for them to have, then once they need it, or like chat, the second chat came out with the paid model for, $9 or $20. I bought it, because I hated the fact that it kept shutting time and out on me. Right. Yeah. So yeah, they'll find the right business model. As kind of final wrap up, Kevin, I'm thinking when I was young in marketing, we were very proud of ourselves. We used to call ourselves angels, because our job was to find out what people wanted and then tell them they could have it. And we're proud of being marketers. Is there a similar bottom line for digital marketing, or is it different these days? No, I think it is. I really think that our clients use us and grow with us because they trust that we're going to help them navigate through this landscape that we know really well and recommend the best solution for them. So thankfully, we've been doing it enough. So when we start off a campaign, we say, all right, you really need these 2 things, or you should try these 3 things. But that's the same thing you probably did back in the day if I called and said, I want to put all my money into this publication. You're like, well, that's not your target market. You should spread it across these 3 and you'll do much better. Like, okay, you know what you're doing. It's the same thing. Well, Kevin, thank you for this survey of digital marketing and these thoughts about the future. We'll send people to the Green Banana website. It's greenbananaseo.com. Is that right? Yep. Or you can do, I used to forget my business cards all the time, so I bought ijustmetkevin.com. So they can go there too. I'll take you to my LinkedIn page. ijustmetkevin.com. That's great. Well done. That's good marketing. Yeah, there you go. Kevin, thanks for today. Really appreciate it. Good to meet you. No, this was fun. Thank you. Good to meet you.
This has been another episode of the Value Creators Podcast. Thanks for listening. You can visit thevaluecreators.com for links and resources related to this episode, and check out hunterhastings.com for more content on entrepreneurial business management based on value creation principles.